just wanted to get the title slide up here as we officially start up in day 2 of this webinar series, Improving Game Day Operations and Elevating the Fan Experience with Hudl. If this is your first day here, welcome. Thanks for coming. If you joined yesterday and you were curious about some of the great things that JD and Jason touched on with their student broadcast operation and improving what they're doing with that, this is going to be a really great day with a really great crew that we've got on the call at Batavia. Before we dive into it, just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Josh Brown. I work in the fan team here at Hudl. I am a streaming and ticketing and everything fan consultant. So I work with schools, conferences, and districts on really promoting their fan page, using their fan page, and making sure that their fans know what we're doing at Hudl with your fan page. We are now starting Hudl ticketing. So I wanted to give a quick plug for that as a part of the fan experience. We're plugging in ticketing into that fan engagement suite, which is really exciting. If you want to learn more about it, reach out to your rep. We also have a ticketing landing page that you can visit, and I think we'll have that posted somewhere, or maybe Mackenzie is already posting it in the chat for me as I speak. But yeah, reach out to us if you're interested in learning more about that piece of it. As we move into this topic for today, I want to introduce my guests here. So I'll let you all introduce yourselves and what your role is at Batavia and what you've worked with on the Hudl fan page side of things.
Sure. So my name is Dennis Piron. I am a business entrepreneurship teacher, head football and head track coach, and assistant athletic director at Batavia High School. And with me today are two students, sadly a former student, effective tonight, I guess, when he graduates, JT Nicolny. Say hello, JT.
My name is Jackson Nicolny. I am one of our lead broadcasters and one of our lead statisticians for our program.
And then Mr. Mason over here, Hunter Mason, who is a junior at Batavia High School.
Yep, I'm Hunter Mason. I am a broadcaster here. I can run the production truck, do some stuff with stats, cameras, pretty much everything with broadcasting on Hudl.
And so that's our group here today. Thought it would be fun to hear from a student. They both went through it, but one who's going to kind of be running the show for me next year. Thanks, buddy. And then JT, who took such a big lead with us, especially as the year went on here at Batavia High School.
Yeah, and that kind of leads into, we'll definitely have some questions for your student team and kind of their role, what all they get to do as we go through this. I guess starting with you though, Dennis, give us a little idea about your background. I mean, you're in coaching, you're helping out with this, you do other things at the school. What's your background altogether in athletics? And then kind of describe how it's morphed into this as well. Yeah,
shockingly, I've taken on more responsibility near the end of my career. I've got a couple years left is all, Josh, 2 to go. But I originally was a business owner in our community for about a decade and was a coach here at the high school, football and track assistant. And as time went by, became a high school teacher, taught math of all things for a good chunk of my career. They laugh at me anyhow. And eventually an opportunity came along because of my business background to run a program called INCubator at Batavia High School, which is a entrepreneurship startup program, really fun, kind of like Shark Tank for high school kids, really a cool deal. So a lot of neat ideas and thoughts come out of that, but I'll get back to that. So along the way, I was named the head football coach. Along the way, I was named the head track coach, boys and girls, and then boys, and have continued in that dual role at a pretty big high school. And I guess, I don't know, we've had good success here in football and track, and that's kind of what I guess most people know me for. But I would hope my students and these guys know me more for somebody I'm always trying to create things for kids to do that are fun, that they enjoy. And so also I'm kind of an outside the box thinker as a coach. So loved right away social media. Thought it was a lot of fun. I love the X's and O's, but I almost love all the shenanigans that go along with sports and football and things for these guys. They know what I'm talking about because our team is full of shenanigans and all the things that we do throughout the year. I think they almost like the events and the activities better than the football games themselves. And not that we're not pretty good, but that's all part of it. That being said, we always like social media, and we've always had kids who love to take pictures of our team or video our team. We've been big on social media in our area with videos and highlight reels and all that way back when. And started with Hudl early. Frankly, I remember a lot of days we would show a Hudl made highlight film I was up the night before making after the game to the guys when they rolled in at breakfast with your music and all of that. It was a lot of fun. That was a number of years ago. We've been a long time Hudl user as a program. All right, let's cut to where we're at right now. So I could talk about that forever. We, a year ago, in my incubator class, had a group called Bandwagon Sports. Their idea was to take sort of like a barstool approach to high school sports and build a media company wrapped around high school sports in our area and then maybe eventually nationally. Cool concept, pretty dynamic presenters. I thought it went pretty well. Mason was actually in that class, had another project, a curriculum project for financial literacy. Kind of interesting, but kind of intertwines. We, for a long time, have wanted to have some level of control over what's broadcast of our sports out to the community. And we have a local cable kind of group called BATV that had kind of done sports, but really focused on football and basketball and did the broadcast with little interaction with us. They knew the players on the team because they did the games, but they didn't know the players on the team, if you know what I mean. So you take Bandwagon, you take what we've been doing. I was talking to a number of students. I got in a conversation, frankly, with a couple of guys who were juniors who weren't going to play football anymore. They didn't dislike the sport. They didn't have a problem with me. I hope. Maybe they do. Sorry if you're watching this, John and Woodsy. But we began to talk about Bandwagon and this, and lo and behold, Hudl starts promoting Hudl TV. And felt like it was a bit of a beta, like we're going to roll this out. But right away we had a conversation, and Woods wanted to be a broadcaster, and Kohlmeyer liked technology, and so they jumped on it. And they're not with us today. They're both two seniors, great kids. So we started to learn, and over the summer we learned, and we played around with stuff, and we got our tech department involved and convinced them to get software loaded on a laptop, and then we hooked up out the stadium to the Hudl camera that looks out at our field. And it was like, Watson, come here, I've done it. All of a sudden the Hudl cam worked, and they could hear their voices over the stream, and boom, that was it. That was how, like lightning, right? That's how it started. So all the things we've been talking about kind of came together, and then we thought maybe we can do this. And you guys decided to make our first game the national game of the week on your Hudl must-see TV. So that sped up our learning curve quite a bit. Also, it helped us because it got everybody in line here, admin, tech department. It had to work, right? Or else we were going to look pretty stupid. So that got us going right away. And honestly, from that point on, it's been just a crazy, I can't believe the year's over, of broadcasting events and students joining the team and students, graduating. And we've had meetings, a number of things we'll touch on, but that was the origin of this whole thing, and really was one of the funnest, coolest, neatest experiences for students I've ever been a part of and, ever gotten involved with. So that's sort of how it all happened, Josh. There's a lot more, but that's the basic story. So
yeah, and for people that aren't aware, maybe you're here and you've never seen a Hudl fan page before, and I'm sharing the wrong screen, so that would be helpful to do the right one. There we go, Google Chrome. They don't want to see my questions; they want to see the page. So you all, you're familiar with this. You've been sending your streams to this page now. But for those who haven't seen, the Hudl fan page has the highlights. And Dennis, you mentioned starting with highlights is something that you did through Hudl. All those highlights that you're getting from games already, the schedules from coaches, and you all have started setting up varsity football games as well for next year. You can see
Right.
there's already a streaming tab for these that are set up on Batavia's webpage here.
Yeah,
This
I
is
was
ready to go.
Yeah, Josh, I was actually because I'll talk about too a little bit what we've done with some of the senior assisted living and senior housing in Batavia, but we have been working with Roku sticks and Fire sticks and computers and smart TVs, and so we've been working with navigating it and teaching people how to navigate it, get better and better at it. But also, it's been interesting to see, like, yeah, our next season's already up on the Roku when you go to the Batavia fan page. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, the fan page. So the Huddle fan app, if you're looking for it on mobile, it's iPhone, Android, obviously for phones. And then that Roku that you talked about, we're available on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Android TV. So pretty much all of those streaming devices that a fan may be using today, that's what we're on, and that's where fans can find your content. Before we get into kind of the student involvement, and I ask some of you students, what was your experience like with that from the fan page and the promotion, Dennis? Do you feel like your community knows now this is the place to go for streams? How did that develop and people get educated on it?
I guess what I would say about that is these guys have done a good job of promoting it. I think early on, maybe like a lot of places, when it's new to you, you hesitate right off the bat to promote it too much because you feel like you're working out kind of the kinks and you don't want a broadcast to go bad and it promised it or that sort of a thing. But I would say over the course of the year, I don't know, these guys both were part of starting up some of our social media and then began to broadcast that. And it was shared by all of our other social media groups throughout the school year. And so that started to happen more and more. Coaches began to share in emails to parents, hey, send this to your grandparents and people out of the area. The game will be live. It would pop up, obviously, on Hudl TV. It would show up on Facebook in our community, what's happening in Batavia. So I think we began to see it. I would say that 24, 25, it'll be huge. Like, it'll be promoted from the word go. We'll start over the summer. It'll be integrated into everything we've talked to families and parents about. Alumni, we were talking about alumni before we got on about, and then really the one group that we're really trying to help, and on JT and I spent an afternoon at Homestead Assisted Living, and it's a senior center in Batavia, a massive place in our town. The seniors really want this and the opportunity to watch these games on their own or in gathering spaces in their facilities. And that's something that we're really excited about.
Yeah, and you all have a document that you created that you're going to show to those folks and say, hey, you're actually going to go to the senior living center and say, hey, here's a flyer. Here's how you watch our games, right?
Yeah, so this is something actually that Hunter put together for us for our program. I'm sharing my screen now. Can you see that?
Yep, coming through great.
Yep. So this is something Hunter built for us. So when JT and I visited the homestead in Batavia, we shared this with the residents, and it just talked about the access. We tried to make it as clean and easy as possible to read. Something that we threw together to show them, hey, here's the ways you can get on. Here's how you can contact us. And kind of a funny side note, Josh, Mr. Mason here was kind enough. I don't know if you could see it, but down here in the contact now, he just decided to share his personal cell phone with all the seniors at the Homestead facility in Batavia. So I'm excited to hear some of the phone calls he gets on game nights from people that can't figure out to use their Fire sticks over at the Homestead in Batavia. But anyhow, I thought that was great. So a great little piece First time just throwing something together. He's a pretty talented kid, obviously. You can see that. But again, it's fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun to do these sort of things, and something that we brought with us as a tool to kind of teach people, when we went over there.
Yeah, well, thankfully the sharing button was hiding your cell phone, Hunter, so you will not get texts and calls after this
That's
unless
okay.
someone was really like locked
okay.
in there as we scrolled down.
Yeah, that's okay.
From the student involvement then, I mean, Hunter and JT, give us an idea of how did you get involved? First, starting with this broadcast program, and what really sparked your interest to start doing this?
Yeah, so Hunter and I are both on the football team, so we were not able to broadcast during football season. But my good friend Ryan Woods, he was doing it. He was starting to talk about it and enjoying it. I thought it sounded kind of interesting, so I decided to do some of the basketball broadcasts. And after doing some research on it and kind of like doing the actual games, either doing the camera work or commentating, I just found it to be super fun and enjoyable because you're with your friends and you're talking about your friends playing basketball. You get to watch high school sports. So I mean, once I got involved, it was super easy and engaging, and it was honestly the highlight of my day and my week when I got to like do a broadcast with my friends. So that's kind of how I got involved, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought that it was a great tool not only for us to kind of expand our knowledge about sports, but also to kind of highlight some of these teams at Batavia who don't necessarily get like the recognition they deserve. Like our girls basketball team, they've been a phenomenal program for years now, and they've never had a game stream. And the broadcast team, we were able to provide that, and that's one of the things that I'm super happy about that we were able to do this year.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I had a little bit different of a start. So I've been interested in sports broadcasting for pretty much all my life. Coach Piron knew that. I've been to some camps, stayed at UCLA for a week. It was really awesome. And he had contacted me because we had talked about some broadcasting stuff previously. And he basically gave me the opportunity to join the team, which I'm extremely thankful for. And I would say it's benefited me just as much as it's benefited the community in terms of giving me experience, and then also giving recognition to programs like the girls basketball team, and then also reaching the families of those programs that might not have an opportunity to watch their girls play ever. So the grandma that lives in Wyoming that can't come down here to watch the game, she's able to tune in through our stream. And it's just been like a three-way beneficial street to the teams, to us, and then to the families, alumni, seniors, whoever we're trying to target.
Do both of you have, you said you were in a broadcasting course elsewhere as well. Are both of you aspiring to do this in college and be in a broadcasting course and maybe eventually do something professionally with this, or what does that future look like for you students?
Yeah, so next year I'll be attending the University of Wisconsin-La-Crosse, and I've actually already emailed the athletic director, and I have a broadcasting position set up for their team. So I'll be doing basketball and soccer games for them in the winter and spring season. So yeah, it'll be a super exciting time, and just doing this has allowed me to kind of continue that.
And then for me, I'm still a junior, so I don't know where I'm going yet, but major-wise, I'm definitely looking to go into sports management, sports broadcasting, journalism, really anything in those fields. Whatever the major that the school has, I'll definitely be going into that.
And Josh, this might be a good segue. So again, these guys are great. They pretty much, I don't really do anything at all, as you can tell at this point, Josh. And all the kids do it, which is great. But we had a meeting. We had sent out email out to the students. They'd kind of seen this happening all year. And Hunter put together a bit of a slideshow. We added some stuff to it. I'll share my screen again. And so we emailed the student body, did a Google form, and said, hey, listen, let's see what kind of interest there is in doing this next year. I want to say we have probably now over 50 to 60 responses to help and do this next year. We started with a core group of 3 or 4 or 5. John Kohlmeyer, I got to say his name. I know no one will know him, but I'm going to say his name because John will watch this. John would be the godfather of all this, okay? He did all the tech, helped us get it going. Woods was the first announcer for us. Woodsy was fantastic and super entertaining at the games. And Jack Klein. That group of 3 kind of kicked this thing and got it all started. And then these guys and a number of other friends and I joined on to do other sports, and we'll talk about that. So what happened was, for next year, because we're planning ahead, Mason wants to be the kind of the leader, the liaison with the students and put this department together. We do have now in our school a, I guess you'd call it an SID director position, kind of it's a stipended position where a educator in our district, teacher who's really involved, also one of our coaches, runs our social media for our athletic department, helps run media days for each of the sports teams. We'll do gift shoots. We'll do special events. We'll help you with your social media posts, graphic design. And our plan for next year is to build that department from these kids. And one part of it you'll see here is Hudl broadcast. So can you see that again, Josh? We okay?
Yep, coming through.
All right. So I don't know if I could do this, but I'm going to kind of click on it. So we put together a little presentation, different components, what the year is going to look like. And then obviously talked about the big part of it is Hudl TV and the opportunities that we're going to have there, how we got started. I mentioned to you Hudl TV this year and graphics and TikToks and students. And, we have an awful lot of fun here with giving kids a lot of freedom to be creators, finding motivated kids, passionate about media, don't care about experience. And then this year we kind of came up with a nice loophole for people that are watching. I don't know if I go back to that. Can you hit the back arrow for me, Mason? I'm sorry. Hit the back arrow on the yeah. So you see that? So what we have is, this isn't a program or a course yet, Josh. That's where we're hopefully headed, into offering this as a capstone course for a lot of different subject areas in our school, right? Because you could think of, photography, journalism, obviously video, statistics, anybody, web design, business, all kinds of things can feed into this as a capstone course. And that would be great. But in the meantime, we were trying to come up with, here's what's in it for you. And whether it was, National Honor Society hours, whether it was a great resume builder, or in some cases, students can intern with our athletic department. And we have an internship program. Most schools have a school to work study. They call it different things. That's kind of been our sort of backdoor to get kids even some high school credit so they can work on a lot of their creative stuff during the school day. So those were kind of some of the things. And so we shared a lot of our stuff that we like for kids to do. And then we got into Hudl TV broadcasters, talked about that. These guys presented on it, talked about camera work and production work. And that was a big part of our presentation, graphic design, journalism, that we're going to offer training, so on and so forth. So just want to give you a little bit of a taste of kind of what we did and what we put together. And from that meeting, thought it went very well. We have a huge interest going into next school year. We did this two weeks ago, guys, and felt great about it. And I kind of ran the beginning and these guys ran the rest. And the feeling I got is that we're probably going to have more students than we even planned for wanting to get involved next year. So if year one was beta, we're full go into year two. We heard from district, if they're watching, we have a nice new Mac or two on the way. So we're going to get to have with all the bells and whistles and super fast. So we're very excited about that. Over in the corner of the room over here, can you tilt the camera back there? So over the course of the year, myself and our athletic director, it's probably hard to see, but that pile of stuff is all the stuff, Josh, that with each broadcast, hey, can we get this? Hey, can we get that? Hey, and you want to. So, the athletic department helped us buy cameras and, professional headsets and a soundboard, and can make a explosion sound or a boing sound or, whatever. So we did, and it became just hilarious, all the stuff that we got to do. So anyhow, why don't you just see that? Go ahead.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And what I'm getting questions about in the Q&A is, hey, the hardware you guys use, that slideshow, that PDF that you're going to share with the senior center, can we send that to participants potentially and say like, hey, if you guys have some documentation, I know a lot of the schools in this Q&A have been asking, hey, can we get your documents on how you set this up?
Take Mason's phone number off of it.
Yeah, please.
Unless you give it to some ladies. But other than that, no, I'm kidding. That's a joke, not appropriate for this broadcast. Anyhow, but yes. So yeah, I'm sure Mace made it. I'm sure he'd be happy to share his work with everybody.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that slideshow and especially the senior center, like how to watch with your school logo, it's a great template for other schools to use.
So because I teach this entrepreneurship program, one of our teams, their business concept was senior technology help. So we kind of tag team with that. It worked out great. And literally the mayor of our town was introduced us to the Homestead facility, which has, I don't even know how many people live there, 500 to 1,000. It's massive. And so that was kind of the lead into it. And what he's been telling me for years is, we need to make sure our seniors see these broadcasts and they love it. It's a big part of their week. It's a big part of their day. So that was kind of our beta test. Josh was going to Homestead. Now Hunter and I, and maybe Nicole, he'll be pretty busy though. He's graduating, but maybe I'll grab him once or twice and grab dinner. I owe him a lot more than that. But we're planning on going to about 6 facilities around town, bring a Roku, bring this show, leave flyers, and each time get a little better at it. And then we're going to, with each of the activity directors, we're going to send out a calendar of events that they include in their calendars. And all of them are planning on having, football nights to start out the year in their commons areas on big TVs with popcorn and, beer. In some cases they can do that there and, whatever. But so we're excited that we're providing a really cool thing for these families. The key though, is these guys. And the key is the difference between just people announcing the game and them announcing the game is the passion and then the knowledge of the kids. Mm-hmm. They really know who the kids are. It isn't just number 24 shot the ball. It's good. They know the kid. They saw him at school that day. They know that he had diarrhea at lunch, and it's amazing that he's even playing. Or they know he just broke up with his girlfriend and he was barely even able to walk on the court. He was so distraught before the game started. So you think I'm kidding, but those things actually happened this year, and it's fun. And I will say one other thing, and these guys know, and Mason was part of this, and Nicole too. You got to make sure you put your broadcasters in a safe space. You don't want to put them surrounded by the visitors in the visitor stands. That's where we're located, at Batavia. And it didn't always go well. The broadcast is entertaining. For anybody out there, find the Geneva boys game or girls game? Geneva Batavia girls game. First at home. Yep. What time of year was that?
November-ish, maybe, I think.
Oh, I think it was after.
Yes.
Maybe January.
Yeah. Just find those and watch through, and you'll enjoy the banter between the fans and our student announcers. And I will tell you, they did a great job telling people what's what.
Kept it professional.
Kept it as professional as they could.
Yeah.
And maintained their composure while they were under a little bit of attack for just doing their job. So my one big caution is put your announcers with your own fans, not with your opponent's fans.
That's the second story I've heard. We didn't hear it yesterday, but Jason Kelly at Harvard Westlake had a student broadcaster, and there was an ex-NBA player who was a fan of the other team attending the game, who gave the announcer some grief during the game. You can see it during the stream as well. So it's the second time I've heard that happening this year. Glad you guys were able to handle it.
Oh yeah, we had another broadcast where people had to come up and we had a guest announcer. We did a few. Fiegel. Yeah. Ben Fiegel announced he's one of our linebackers in football, and a little bit of a little boisterous, a little a character, and it got a little heated. They had to send people in the stands. That was the only time that happened. So, but it was no harm was done. So.
Yeah. Well, there's a few questions coming in. We've got 10 minutes officially. We went over a little bit yesterday. So I know time flies, right? One question we had from the audience, they think they might have missed it at the beginning, but if you guys will say it again, I mean, how big is the school? They're a smaller school and they're wondering, hey, can we kind of build this media platform like you guys have?
Yeah, so we're around 1,900 students, Batavia High School. That would make us in sports. We're in the largest class of everything, even though we're not the largest school and everything. With the exception of football, we have 8 classes. We're in 7A, but I think in every other sport we're in 3A out of 3 or 4A out of 4. So that's us for the most part. We are a far west suburb of Chicago. We are kind of on the edge of suburban rural. We were a rural community probably till about 25 years ago, but one way is cornfields and the other way is suburban sprawl. Literally, that's where we are, on the edge of it all. So that's Batavia. We're a semi-affluent community, I would say. Some of the tools and the things that we have, we are grateful for being able to have those things. But you know what? If you got an iPhone and you can go on Amazon and you can buy, how much are those little cheap mics? Oh, you can plug in $20 lapel mics. You can do a broadcast. Last summer, we tested this at a summer basketball tournament at the high school, like a shootout. And we used iPhones and a little mic thing off of it, and it worked great. Honestly, looked fantastic. So you don't have to have the Hudl cameras right off the bat on your stadium. That's not something you have. You could make this work with your camera and a little lapel mics from $20 from Amazon, your phone.
Yeah. Did you all use a remote truck for that, the streaming app?
Yeah.
We use remote truck for all of our softball games. We couldn't get necessarily Wi-Fi out there, so I just used my iPhone. I had a little plug-in mic. We had a little tripod, and it's really simple to use. Even like the remote truck, Drew. Even the remote truck, remote truck,
yes,
is super simple to use. Mm-hmm. So it honestly, if you have a phone and a mic, it's all you need if you want to provide these broadcasts for your school and your community.
Yeah, and I want to mention they did. So obviously football, blah blah, whatever. I know I'm the coach, but they did soccer, lacrosse, wrestling, girls basketball, softball, baseball, boys and girls basketball. A distance running event, Josh, called Distance Madness in our field house, an indoor distance, I think was one of our largest viewership things of the year.
Upwards of 4,000 views.
Yeah.
I think 6,000.
And that was done that was all done streaming on remote truck, right? Yep. And we had a camera at the finish and a camera on the backstretch. So it was like, here they come, here they go. And they recorded that and had huge views, and they, to the best of their ability, announced a distance running meet. It was amazing.
Yeah, track and field is a difficult one for broadcasting.
A little bit.
Well, they did our conference meet.
We had fun.
Yeah.
We put personality into it, which I think is, again, the student importance.
Yes.
I mean, we were trying snacks, doing reviews, things like that.
Yeah.
That's one of our big events, a snack and drink of the game. That's kind of one of our big, kind of student
It is track after all. And there's a lot of downtime, so they had to find something to entertain the audience.
Yeah, and for those in the audience who haven't used Remote Truck before, it is an iPhone and iPad app that you can download. You log in with your credentials you would use for Production Truck or your Hudl admin, and then you can stream directly from it. And like you guys have utilized it more for plugging in audio for commentators, and the video just comes right from the phone's camera. It's super clean.
It's all 2 minutes to set up. It's extremely simple.
Yeah, it's good. And in some ways, I think the opportunities that opens up for remote opportunities, I don't know. I think it's sometimes be fun to do cross country. I thought guys running with the cross country kids, through the brush, getting me in different spots will be cool to announce. I mean, we'll try anything. These guys did try everything. And I think we're in a good spot because of everything they did. So really, I think it's always just get started. Even if you just get 3 or 4 dedicated kids, we were lucky to start with that and then get to about a dozen, probably, right? I will say at the end of the year, it's tough because they've worked so hard and there was so much energy and momentum. The last month of the school year, it's been a little tougher to get announcers just as a thing. And it's understandable, right? They're seniors, they're graduating. They've given a ton of service to their classmates in school. And so that's been a little bit trickier, but they still managed to hit all the big games at the end of the year as well. So,
Yep. There was a question in the chat. I'll have you guys answer this live, and then I'm going to go through and answer a few other questions via text here of those that I can't answer. Somebody asked, does Hudl TV offer any live graphics? And I think that's where you all can maybe speak about production truck and graphics capabilities that you used with our software.
yeah, I mean, we had graphic integration all throughout the year of different levels and different kinds. I know for a number of the football games, we began to introduce that, use the scoreboard, use some of the other functionality, use some logos, put up on the screen. I think that's what you're for. Can you talk about basketball a little bit?
Yeah. So for basketball, lacrosse, girls soccer, we put up our own scoreboard on there. Basketball, sometimes the scoreboard from the gym would pop up on there. Other times it wouldn't. So we could add points. We could have a clock. We could have the period, timeouts, fouls, pretty much everything you need. And then for one of the girls' basketball games, we actually had a pretty cool graphic on there. One of the ladies was hitting the all-time school record for points ever, and we had a countdown on there. So every time after she scored a basket, we would take points away from the countdown, and it said 19 points left till Brooke hits the all-time record. And we had a big graphic, lots of exclamation points. A bunch of people tuned in. I think we had comments on social media talking about it. There's a lot of flexibility you can do with the graphics, and I think we utilized a lot of it.
Yeah, and they all did a really nice job with that. It was a lot of fun. And it's always, for me, it's more of a learning curve. I'll be honest, Josh, as I told you, kind of joked. Once these guys kind of started to run with stuff, I wouldn't even know they were broadcasting events. They'd text me and they'd say, "Hey, Piron, what did you think about this or that?" I'd be like, "Oh my God, sorry guys, I'm not watching every single minute of every sport," but they seemed like they did everything, so it was really cool.
That's awesome. I'm thinking, yesterday we had some schools who were a little bit smaller, and you hit on the kind of the key to at least just getting started a couple of times as we've talked through this. But really, for all of you, what do you think the key is to just getting started with trying to expand what they're doing with student involvement?
I think,
Passion.
yeah, passionate kids who want to do it. If you just ask, I think you'll be shocked at how many kids would just like to do this. I think sometimes, like here's an example. Let's say football. You're always going to have a couple of guys who like want to be a manager, don't want to play, but give them this instead, and they'll just love this, and they can be. It's more integrated, and also there's a little bit of ego in this. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I know these guys have their name being said, and no, they're the ones doing the broadcast, and not from the regard of, oh, I feel, but like it's fun and it's you. You're the creator of it, so you kind of get to put your stamp on something. And honestly, there's not a lot of creative outlets like that for kids where I can say, hey, how'd you like to be on TV, or show your graphics on TV, or post on my social media account, or design this and have thousands of people see it. And they're like, well, how's that going to happen? Well, do the broadcast with us. Be involved with this. Hey, help us with the social media. So there's a lot of legs to this, Josh. Like the Hudl TV is a component of where you could eventually build all kinds of fun things. Kids love digital media, digital marketing, and all that goes with this. And this is really another big opponent. But passionate kids, we've always got kids that want to do this. You got to find them. And as soon as you do, get out of their way, it's going to just boom, it'll go. It'll be a lot of fun for all the kids in your school.
We have 1 minute left, so you made it right under the gun, Dennis. I think there's still a couple of questions here. We went a little bit over yesterday, so I don't think there's any problem going a few minutes over here. I'm seeing if there's any others that you all would be good for answering for here. Some of them are more about like equipment that you're using with production truck, which we talked about a little bit. Are you all doing more than one camera?
Yes.
For is it most of your events, some of your events? What does that look like?
Yeah, anywhere from like 2 to 4, right?
Yeah, so the majority of our events, we have our main Hudl camera either up top of the gym or the stadium. Then we'll have anywhere between 1 and 2 additional sideline cameras to either kind of film the crowd and or film a broadcast from up top, or just kind of to film the action up close and get kind of like more like personal shot. Coach Piron, he's gonna get one of our little handheld cameras here.
Oh gosh, yeah.
He's getting like the Hudl regular one. So here he is right here. So yeah, so what we'll have is we'll have a camera like this with one of our receivers on top. We'll have it on a tripod on the sideline, someone working down there, just getting different angles, getting different kind of stuff. So it's not a super hard thing to do. I mean, it's very easy. You press 2 buttons, you just connect it to the transmitter to the computer, and you're all set up. So
And so they set these up before the game on tripods. Sometimes they're just sitting there without an operator, and then a kid runs it during the game and just follow. And then the production truck. Both of you guys run production truck, so they both run production truck. And
super easy. Just double click the camera you want to go to, and it automatically switches to it.
And I would say we were lucky with having John Colmeyer. I mean, he's amazing with technology. But you guys can definitely learn it too. It just takes a little bit of hard work at the beginning. But John was like a whiz with it. He was amazing.
Yeah. It does help. Everybody has a tech kid who loves this kind of stuff in their school. A couple kids. You get those guys involved, and again, like anybody, I mean, man, I'm just blown away. And what ends up happening is they just dig down deep. So like all the material that Hudl sends me that I, read the first line and go, what, at first, they just go, and then they watch every video and they're like, all right, hey, Piron, here's how this is going to work. And they just, hey, but can we, and they just roll. They just roll. So, but yeah, they did do some multi-angle broadcasts. It's really nice. Basketball works really well.
Excellent. Well, I think you guys went through really a great job of displaying how you got started with this, kind of what the future looks like. I really appreciate all three of you jumping on and giving us your time today. Any last thoughts as you think about students being involved with Hudl Fan and how to take advantage of that? Anything to kind of wrap up here?
Sure. Yeah. I would say, I mean, if you're a school that's looking to start it up, I would say send that email and get it out, especially sooner than later. Get it started, set yourself up for success. You have the summer to plan it out, and just send it out and get ready, because you don't know how many people are going to respond to that. What do we have? 50, 60 people respond to our email. We were not expecting that.
I thought maybe 10 kids would show up.
10, 15.
Yeah. So it's great.
There will be people that will want to do it. You just need to start and get that outreach to them. Yeah. And then they'll take it and run with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just try it out. I mean, even if you get 4 or 5 kids to start it out with, those kids they'll like, hey, Jimmy, you want to do a basketball game with me? Oh, sure. And then they'll tell other people. So just start it out, and then the people who love it will bring in other people who enjoy it, and the community will build within the school.
Yeah, and if you get a small group started in the fall, you'll find you might have some football players who they're just play football. Maybe that's a group that then, hey, I'd like to do this the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And so a lot of your fall athletes can kind of take control in the winter and the spring. So that, I think, worked out very well here.
Awesome. Again, thank you guys so much. I see there's questions we didn't get to. I will follow up via email with any of those folks that had questions we didn't get to today. There's some about hardware and how you connect the cameras. We got some good tutorials on that. For now, I just want to say again, thanks so much for your all's time there at Batavia, and thanks for attending. For those of you who are in attendance, we will have this recorded, so you can watch this session or the one we did yesterday, and you'll also get a survey from us. So give us your feedback, what we can improve, maybe sessions for later in June if we want to do this again and have some more live streaming deep dives and what other programs are doing. But thanks everybody for attending, and again, thanks Batavia for you guys jumping on here with us today.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you.
All right, thanks everybody.